Today, it's the battle you've been waiting for. It's Ford versus Chevy on the street, on the track, on the strip, and just plain on the gas. First, we're going to the Sport Truck Shootout in London, Kentucky. Then we're pitting Kevin's Lightning and Ryan's 454 SS to a head-to-head shootout for our MuscleTrux Series title. It's all today here on Trucks.
Hey, welcome to Trucks. We're here at London Dragway in London, Kentucky for the 9th annual North American Truck Club Sport Truck Shootout. Check this stuff out, man.
Man, this is sport truck heaven. The North American Truck Club is out in full force with their Chevys. And whether you're into nitrous or turbos, superchargers or natural aspiration, they've got it all for you, all flavors. So let's check them out. They're loud too.
The North American Truck Club's annual shootout is a one-day event for all sport trucks. And this year, London Dragway drew all kinds of vehicles from all over. Now that is how you get a 57 Chevrolet on Trucks TV.
Dave Chelepis has got one bad nitrous-powered big block that he built with the help of a couple of friends. He was also the guy who generously donated a center console for our SS. You still got yours in your truck?
Nope. I do have an extra one that I'm going to put in there eventually, but that was a spare that I could give up for you guys.
Oh,
so
cool. Well, I appreciate it, man.
No problem.
Dave's truck was put together at his family's speed shop in Orland Park, Illinois. And with all that horsepower, it's still a decent driver. And believe me, he does drive it.
All the time. Drove it last night 75 miles. So.
Really?
Yep. That's what it's basically designed for.
But well behaved, of course.
Oh yeah. It drives like a Cadillac.
But it wasn't just about Chevy power. The Ford crowd was out in force, and one of the fastest Lightnings of the day was Keith Blackburn's big block Gen 1 Lightning that he's named Copperhead. It features a fiberglass front, custom suspension, full cage, and 557 cubic inches of heat. And today, he was cooking.
I just broke out. It went 654 at 104 through an 8.
Probably the most extreme street truck we saw was Turbo Billy's 1,200 horsepower, twin turbo, and nitrous-powered SS. That, like a lot of other extreme builds, started out pretty mild, but then it got crazy.
I was told I can get into it for about $5,000.
Oh yeah, how'd that work out?
It didn't work out.
No?
It was fun to have our project trucks on display, but one of the best things about the shootout was that we got a chance to say hi to some of the people that watch trucks and have followed these two build-ups.
The night before the races, we were invited by the North American Truck Club to a get-together at the local state park for a closer look at some of their trucks. And we had the chance to ask around and talk to people about trucks, high-performance strategy, and all things automotive.
One of the most interesting trucks there was this all-wheel drive GMC Typhoon. And it was pretty dramatic seeing an all-wheel drive burnout with its LS1 power plant, custom front suspension, and reprogrammed electronics.
And if you've ever thought that computers have gotten in the way of hot rodding, well, guess again. Because with Jeff and his buddies, it's just another small obstacle.
What I've done is I've taken the stock computer and adapted it for the 8-cylinder.
Yeah.
And me and some buddies have rewritten the code inside so we can run up to 30 pounds of boost.
Another off-the-wall and unique build, but cut from the same cloth, was a turbocharged LS-powered Cyclone owned by Will Power. And with less than 3,000 factory Cyclones produced, he's made his even more rare.
There are a few LS1 Cyclones, but LS1 and turbos and all-wheel drive, I believe this is the only one.
Now, one of our toughest jobs over the whole weekend was picking out our favorite street truck to present them with a dual-liner sponsored prize. And it was Turbo Billy with his twin-turbo 454 SS that got our attention big time.
Well, this one doesn't need a bed liner, but I looked at your tow rig.
Yeah, I've got a 05 Duramax diesel. I'm sure you use it.
Hey, these racers are really the kind of guys we like to see our bed liners go to. Stuff stays where you put it, and that's what really counts to these guys.
Great people, a great track, a great day for racing, and tons of friends to share it all with. All add up to one fun event. And it's a good thing this is an annual get-together, because something this good definitely bears repeating.
Up next, we'll see how our trucks do on the street. And later, how they do on the track. Stay tuned.
Hey, welcome back to Trucks. Well, the North American Sport Truck Club shootout was a huge success. And after seeing all those great trucks at the track, we figured there's no better time than now to finally see how our trucks do up against each other. So for starters, we grabbed the keys and hit the road just to see how they felt.
The first thing I noticed about the 454 was the ride quality, because a lowered truck is usually a compromise between stance and comfort. But with the Belltech kit, it was almost as smooth as a stock truck, but a lot more solid thanks to the urethane bushings and fatter sway bars. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a solid 8.5. Then I put my foot into it, and the acceleration was all big block, planting you into the seat with torque you can feel, even at highway speeds.
When this Lightning was bone stock, it had a stiff suspension. And now with 4 inches of drop, new sway bar, urethane bushings, well, I'm definitely more aware of road feel. But our goal was to improve these muscle trucks and to step up performance. And the way this thing feels when you press on the skinny pedal, well, it literally plants you back in the seat. And I think on a long trip, this would wear you out. For short term, this thing's a blast to drive out on the highway.
On a windy 2-lane, this almost 20-year-old truck really shines. And I almost forgot that it weighs well over 4,000 pounds. It feels surprisingly nimble, and like on the highway, ride quality suffers a little, but not much.
The Lightning is undoubtedly stiffer, but it goes where you steer it. And unlike a lot of I-beam trucks I've driven, it follows your orders precisely.
Both trucks were hard to keep under the posted speed limit, especially on corners. So I guess it's a good thing we don't drive them every day, because I know I'd be racking up some speeding tickets.
Now, we took these trucks to a local tire and alignment shop, and each was lined up right back into spec with no trouble, which shows off the quality of the Belltech and the DJM suspensions. The GM and Ford engineers knew what they were doing as well. But with the EPA and limited technology of the day, well, they kind of had their hands tied behind their backs a little.
Well, thanks to the aftermarket, providing us with options like a more sophisticated EFI system, shift improvement kits, better braking technology, and vastly improved computer programming, we were able to bring these trucks up to modern day standards, where they can truly live up to the name, sport truck.
Which brings us right back to where we started this whole thing off, wondering what would happen if we put a 454 SS up against a first-gen Lightning. Which one would come out on top?
Would a big block win over a forced induction small block? Well, you guys that have been watching these shows deserve to know exactly that.
And now that these trucks are road ready, well, that's exactly what we're going to do.
When we come back, the guys will slug it out on the track. Stick around.
Hey, welcome back. Well, guess where we ended up? Yep, we're back here at our favorite racetrack, US 43 Raceway Park in Etheridge, Tennessee. And now that we know how these trucks feel on the road, it's time to see what they can do right here on the track.
But it's not just about straight line performance. We want to find out who's got the most well-rounded sport truck. So we're going to throw a slalom and braking test into the mix. But first things first, see how these trucks do on their street tires.
It's pretty apparent that we're no longer dealing with a stock drivetrain. So I did a couple of launches with a little less pressure on the pedal, just to shake it out. It felt like it was hooking.
It launched good. I mean, it took off.
What was ET?
920 something, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad for a big old heavy truck. So
I think the floor mat's holding the throttle.
Give it another round.
This time I got into the throttle a bit more. And when the turbo spooled up, the tires just let go. But once it got a little traction, well, she took off like a scalded dog.
Well, I hope he blows the tires off it every time, at least give me a chance. That was perfect.
Yes.
Do that every time.
Man, those hard compound tires.
Yeah, you lit them up pretty easy and
Yeah.
just, it was walking out sideways.
Even with a well-prepped track, the Lightning still wasn't hooking. But we've got a secret weapon for later on. Now, the seat of the pantsometer, well, it's pegged. This truck is fun.
At a 952, he still blew the tires off it a little bit, but I think we got something for him. I rolled into it out of the gate just to see how things felt. And it became pretty apparent that traction was going to be the issue of the day, at least on street tires.
That felt a little bit better. A lot better. 72 miles an hour, 10:04, and you were cooking with gas too. Do you hear it chirp?
Oh yeah, it chirped second gear. Big time.
And you weren't even out of second gear by the time you went through the traps, too.
Cool. I'll just leave it in second then.
Yeah, yeah.
Need to get in that 9-second barrier though.
I don't think so.
Taking it easy off the line doesn't help 60-foot time. And on an 8-mile track, it's all about getting a jump on it. But this big block felt pretty good all the way through the RPM range.
997, 73 miles an hour. How'd it feel?
It felt a lot better. Yep.
Well,
went through the traps in a second gear, top end of second gear, right at about 5,000 RPM, so the gearing's matched up pretty well. So
yeah.
It's time for some slicks.
And before we throw on the slicks, we wanted to see how each truck reacted in a slalom course.
Kevin's best run was his first, with no cones and more body roll than anybody expected.
Despite the giant engine up front, the SS had a clear advantage in the handling department. So I thought a little more speed might help, but not so much.
Now these are simple, non-scientific tests, but they compare the basic functions side by side.
Trying to find a better line, I squeaked through another run, but the tail was still wagging the dog, for sure. Now Ryan really had it dialed in on his last run, beating me by more than half a second with no casualties. Well, he kicked my butt on that, but I'm gonna blame it on the coil springs. We had some of the guys on the forums warn us about putting the stock F-150 coil springs back under this thing, and we took a gamble, and you know, I'm blaming it all on the truck. What do you think?
I'm gonna blame it on that emblem on the front.
You see that? All right, let's see what's next. A braking test was next, and the Lightning, which stopped well in stock trim, well, it locked up the front wheels big time.
Let's see if we can do better than that.
Try that again. This was another best out of 3, and it did get a little better.
Oh, you must have got a little heat in the tires that time.
A little better. I'm working on some flat spots.
Oh,
What do you
got
think?
about 6 spots. Yeah, you got whoop, whoop, whoop.
Even with some soft pedaling, this truck is a handful in a panic stop. A little better that time.
You're either getting heat in the brakes or heat in the tires.
I don't know.
You're moving up 5 feet every time. I don't know if it was the extra weight over the front, but the 454 really shined on this test. Now these were hot laps, and this truck just kept getting better, proving to be the clear winner in overall handling.
My secret weapon, he gets about 6 miles per gallon. He's gonna run out of gas before his last stop, and I'm just gonna win by disqualification.
Now you saw earlier on the track, well, it was pretty easy to light up these street tires. So to remedy that, we're gonna replace them with these Mickey Thompson ET Streets. Should take care of our traction problem. Even with the ET Street tires, combined with the Calvert Racing traction bars, the torque of the big block still broke the tires loose under wide open throttle.
Hey, whatever you did that time is helping you big time in your 60-foot.
Oh, yeah?
Same mile an hour out the back, 74, but it was a 970 flat.
I think the only thing missing was some cones.
Yeah, it was kind of a Mr. Toad's wild
I
ride.
went about a quarter mile on that 8.
Uh-huh.
You were on at that time, man, 898.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, still at 76, so you're still right at the same mile an hour as you were on the street tires, but
Right.
it hit hard.
It felt like it's hooking really, really good.
So it comes down to a straight line brawl. Big block versus small block. Chevy versus Ford. And although the Super Sport gets the whole shot,
But the Lightning picks up the slack at half track and ends up winning by better than a truck length. But this is by no means over, because although each truck has its strengths, there's still one more test.
After the break, it looks like style points will have to break this tie. Don't go away.
hey, welcome back to the final chapter of Muscle Truck Wars. Well, after an entire day of beating on these trucks, straight line runs, a slalom course, and 60-0 stopping tests, well, we finally decided there's only one way to settle this once and for all. a donut contest.
The object was who could drift around the cone the most times without knocking it over. But after the first time around, I couldn't even see the cone for the tire smoke, so I just held it to the floor. My foot slipped.
The Super Sports stock limited slip differential was okay in a straight line, but spinning in a circle, it was really limited. And between searching from left to right for traction, the big block torque simply overwhelmed the worn clutches. And anything more than a peg leg stripe, well, it just wasn't in the cards today. Not even in reverse. I think I need a locker or something. Only one wheel spinning.
Now, when you're putting together a garage or a workshop, one of the most important things you can think about are air lines. Now, if you're on a tight budget, it might seem logical to choose PVC. It's cheap, but it can be dangerous. I've actually seen this stuff explode under extreme conditions. It breaks down over time. Black iron is pretty common, but as you can see, you need specialized tools to thread the fittings, and when this stuff rusts, well, that can get in your paint jobs and your equipment. Copper is also a decent choice, but you gotta solder every single connection, and copper is very expensive, as we know. And if you don't get your connections right, well, it's gonna leak. That's where Garage-Pak comes in. Their airline system requires no special tools to assemble, and with Transair push-to-connect fittings, it's easy to modify and custom fit to your shop. Tubing size ranges from 1/2 inch all the way up to 4 inches in diameter, and the tubing is made from powder-coated aircraft aluminum. And here's how it works. Connections are really simple. Just make sure your arrows are lined up on the fitting, slide the tubing in, and you've got a nice, tight, airtight seal with the O-ring fitting. To release, just back off the fitting, about 1.5 turns or so, and bottom it out, and pull the tubing out, no problem. They've also got a really cool quick disconnect. Just pop in the fitting, turn it one way to release the pressure for safety, turn it the other way to release the fitting. Garage-Pak offers 11 different starter kits, so no matter what the size of your shop, you can route air out to your tools in no time, and more importantly, safely and with a real professional look. Garage-Pak kits start at just $220, so you can go to GaragePak.com not only to see which kit is right for your shop, but heck, you can even custom design your system before you even place your order. Thanks for watching Trucks. See you guys next week.